Good evening to everyone joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a productive Thursday. Now, here's a sneak peek of our edition. Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva has urged those in the justice sector not to use their authority for personal interests and instead work with other institutions to ensure fair justice for all. Ministers responsible for the East African Community Affairs and Trade, together with representatives of civil society and the private sector, say there is clear political will among member states to pursue regional integration, but implementation of agreed measures remains slow. And we are glad once again to have your company coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. Let us begin this edition by informing you that this afternoon at Urugwiro Village, President Paul Kagame received U.S. Senator Steve Daines of Montana. They discussed ways to strengthen Rwanda-U.S. cooperation, regional stability, and opportunities for expanding economic ties. President Paul Kagame also met with Lee Rosenberg, President Emeritus of the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee, Saul Singer, author of Startup Nation and The Genius of Israel, Wendy Singer, former director of the IPAC Israel office, and their delegation. Discussions focused on the opportunities for collaboration in various areas, including innovation, entrepreneurship, and technology. President Paul Kagame also had a meeting with Haja Lahbib, European Commissioner for Equality, Preparedness and Crisis Management, and Johan Borgstam, EU Special Representative for the Great Lakes region, to discuss the security situation in Eastern DRC and a focus on ongoing continental and international efforts to address humanitarian needs. Moving ahead, Prime Minister Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva has urged those in the justice sector to not use their authority for personal interests and instead work with other institutions to ensure fair justice for all. The Prime Minister made the remarks during the swearing-in of the new Military Prosecutor General, Colonel Charles Sumanyi, who was appointed to the position towards the end of last month during a cabinet meeting. Colonel Charles Sumanyi replaces retired Colonel Pacifique Kayigamba Kabanda, who was appointed Secretary General of the Rwanda Investigation Bureau last year. Colonel Sumanyi previously served as a judge at the military court for 8 years and at the High Military Court for 7 years. He also served as the Vice President of the Military High Court for 1 year before his appointment as the Military Prosecutor General. Ministers responsible for East African Community Affairs and Trade, together with representatives of civil society and the private sector, say there is clear political will among member states to pursue regional integration, but implementation of agreed measures remains slow. Some cross-border service providers, including those operating within the East African community, have welcomed progress made in simplifying customs procedures and improving cargo security systems.
Harmonization, whereby you're able to monitor everything in the system. As long as you have the proper documentation, you're able to clear your cargo online. You can also clear the cargo from the ports of Mombasa or Dar es Salaam, and the cargo will come through different borders, and then the data will be shared at different points. So all that facilitates trade and also makes trade faster in terms of movement of cargo. We still face delays of corruption, so you find like there's a delay of a certain truck because of maybe someone wants money and it has stayed at the border for maybe 2-3 days. We still have those challenges in some countries. And then we also have high costs of transportation. which is a big issue, and I believe this is usually caused by poor infrastructure in some of the countries, where you find we still have poor roads and also lack of alternatives.
At a meeting taking place in Kigali, ministers in charge of East African Community Affairs, trade officials from member states, and representatives of public institutions, the private sector, and civil society are reviewing progress made toward regional integration. Dennis Karera, vice chairperson of the East African Business Council, noted that delays often arise when decisions are made, but their implementation takes too long.
They asked us, the private sector, make a study of the cost-benefit analysis in liberalizing airspace, so that every airport is a domestic airport in the region. Paka sasa, Kael said, I have used 14 hours personally. Arusha to Kigali. Here, Addis Ababa, there is a change of flight. 14 hours, Hapa, the journey of 2 hours. So where is the problem now? We said we should leave this room with a solution. Liberalizing East African airspace is still a problem.
This view is echoed by the Secretary General of the East African Community, Veronica Mweni Nduva, who affirmed that the political will for integration exists.
We cannot continue with protectionism. We cannot continue with non-implementation. We cannot continue to have a divergence between policy action and political will. The political will of our leaders is evident. Our leaders want us to trade, and that is why they have asked us, what is it that needs to happen? One example is domestic tax harmonization. Our 8 partner states have different domestic tax. How then will the goods move across the borders? I do not have the solutions. The solutions lie in this room.
The meeting is preparing for the upcoming summit of heads of state of the East African Community, scheduled for next month, where its resolutions will be represented. Statistics show that intra-EAC trade among the 8 member states stands at only 15%, largely constrained by the fact that just 36% of the region's road network is paved. A total of 336 Rwandans, mostly women and children, have returned home from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Upon arrival at the border post in Rubavu district, they were received by local authorities before being transferred to the Nyarushishi transit camp in Rusizi district. The returnees said they are relieved to have left behind years of displacement marked by insecurity, sexual violence, and loss of property in the forests of the eastern DRC. They expressed gratitude for being back in Rwanda after enduring harsh living conditions for a long time, saying they now have hope for a better future. Rubavu District Mayor Prosper Mulindwa, who welcomed the 93 families, commended their decision to return and encouraged them to urge others still in Congo to come back home. From the Nyarushishi transit camp, they will be reintegrated back into their communities in their home areas here in Rwanda. Financial experts in areas such as saving, investing, and other development activities have emphasized the importance of establishing inclusive systems that ensure persons with disabilities have equal access to all financial services in order to support their economic empowerment. They made these remarks during discussions organized by Access to Finance Rwanda, aimed at promoting inclusive financial services for persons with disabilities. Enora Gladys reports.
In the private sector, both youth and adults with disabilities who aspire to improve their livelihoods say they face several challenges, including poor service delivery in banks and other financial institutions. In my daily life, I run a decoration business. One of the main challenges we face is when applying for loans. Many banks and other financial institutions do not trust we are capable of repaying loans, even though we are business people like everyone else. Another challenge is that when you go to access bank services, some buildings are not constructed in an appropriate way, making them inaccessible and creating barriers for persons with disabilities. According to the 2022 survey by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, 3.4% of all Rwandans are persons with disabilities. Among them, the percentage of those accessing and using financial and banking services decreased by 0.7%, from 15% in 2020 to 14.3% in 2024. The chairperson of the National Union of Disability Organizations of Rwanda, Beth Nasiforo Mukarwego, believes financial institutions should play a strong role in ensuring persons with disabilities can access these services, especially since many are now actively engaged in income-generating activities.
Making financial services for accessible, supporting most of excluded groups. Addressing these challenges will require all of us, government, banks, partners, and OPDs to work together. Financial inclusion is not only about access to services. It is about dignity, independence, and equal opportunity. It is all about enabling persons with disabilities to participate fully in the economy and plan for their future. NUDOR is committed to ensuring that no person with disability is left behind. Through collaboration, evidence-based policies, and inclusive practices, we can build a financial system in Rwanda that is accessible, fair, and empowering for all.
John Gwirahira, the head of Research, Evidence and Policy at Access to Finance, noted that the lack of effective inclusion mechanisms for persons with disabilities globally results in economic losses estimated at between 3 to 7% of global GDP. He stressed that financial institutions should take the lead in closing this gap.
Disability around 31% compared to 13%. A wage gap, that one we can't even tell. It's huge. Average hourly gap is around 12% and could even go up to more than 25% in low-income countries. What are we losing by not including persons with disabilities? We are losing between 3 to 7% of GDP. That's globally. And in some countries, low-income countries, such as Kenya, it's around 7% that we are losing by not including persons with disabilities. So we are not giving justice to ourselves by not including persons with disabilities in our economic activities.
Access to Finance Rwanda reports that in 2020, 9.6% of persons with disabilities were excluded from financial services. This figure decreased to 8.1% in 2024. The reduction is partly attributed to inclusive education initiatives and vocational training programs that help persons with disabilities improve their livelihoods.
Thank you, Enara, for that report. Now, foreign investors have continued to channel investments into Rwanda, with Plus campaigns commending the government of Rwanda for creating equal opportunities for entrepreneurs in the labor market. The remarks were made during a meeting with clients to celebrate the progress the company has achieved. Pluscon's executives praised the milestones reached and the continued trust shown by their customers.
So Rwanda is a very important market for us. People are very quality conscious. We thought that there was a gap in good quality paint in this market. So we decided that we want to enter Rwanda and ensure that we give our product offering to the people of Rwanda. That's one part. The second part is also to ensure that we do significant CSR activities to promote the youth, basically give them tools for self-employment. So we do a lot of training of painters. So we want to extensively do those, and we also want to do a lot of CSR activities in this region. So that's our aim. So Plascon was originally here since 2000, and we were basically trading under a different brand. And then in 2017, we got acquired by Kansai Paint Japan, which is number 9 in the world. And since then, there were distributors who were running this operation, and not us as a company directly involved in this business. Starting today, Kansai Paint, we are the representatives of Kansai Paint. We are not the distributors, we are Kansai Paint. So we are actually coming ourselves into this market to provide good quality paint and services to this market. The next move, our aim, we have already 8 dealers in Rwanda as of now, and by the end of this year, we aim to increase that to more than 100. We have seen very positive response from all the people who have attended here. We have significant support from the Embassy of Japan and also other stakeholders. So we are very confident that we will be able to really provide some great value addition to this market and bring solutions to people of Rwanda and really give some very good quality products to big projects here.
Plascon operates in 34 African countries, producing a wide range of paints used for residential and industrial purposes, as well as everyday applications. Across Africa, the company employs 600 permanent staff. Moving ahead, the Secretary General of the Muslim World League, Sheikh Dr. Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al Issa, who is on a 3-day visit to Rwanda, has stated that the international community should learn from Rwanda's example in peaceful coexistence, mutual respect, and accelerated development. One of the key purposes of his visit was to commend 20 Muslims, including 10 Rwandans, who have memorized the Holy Quran and are teaching it to others. Those recognized said the Quran has helped instill values that guide them in their daily lives. The Mufti of Rwanda, Sheikh Musa Sindaigaya, noted that the initiative reflects the country's commitment to freedom of worship. Dr. Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al Issa, who also heads the International Union of Muslim Scholars, visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial, where more than 250,000 victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi are laid to rest. He said Rwanda has set an example in reconciliation and rebuilding national unity. The Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Rwanda Governance Board, Dr. Felicien Usengumukiza, urged members of the Islamic faith to continue upholding the values drawn from the Quran.
Tonight, we celebrate the noble achievement of those who have memorized the Quran, and we congratulate all of you. Your achievement is a source of pride for yourselves and your respective countries too. Memorizing the Quran requires discipline, perseverance, and devotion. Yet, memorization alone is not enough. The Quran calls us to live by values and peace and justice, compassion, honesty, humility, and service to humanity. As carriers of the Quran, you are entrusted with embodying these values in your daily lives to inspire others to live with integrity and peace. This ceremony reflects our shared values: unity, respect, accountability, and mutual trust as the foundation of our progress as a dignified humanity. Freedom of worship is meaningful only when accompanied by adherence to these values. As we all know, faith communities plays a vital role in this journey. By teaching discipline, compassion, and responsibility, they strengthen the moral fabric of our society. By promoting peace and coexistence, they contribute to national unity. By nurturing integrity, they support good governance. As the Rwanda Governance Board, we emphasize that adherence to values is essential.
During the visit, the Secretary General of the Muslim World League is also expected to sign a cooperation agreement with the Rwanda Muslim community. Coffee farmers have committed to improving the way export coffee is processed, as they expressed during a meeting that brought together various stakeholders, including coffee processors and the National Agricultural Export Development Board. Farmers and processors from different parts of the country were urged to comply with regulations governing coffee production and processing, aligning their practices with international market standards to enhance quality and increase benefits to both their livelihoods and the national economy. Alain Michael Gabiro Dorichusa, an official from the United Nations Development Program, said that in partnership with NAIEB, they will support coffee farmers to boost their productivity and contribute to national development.
UNDP has been supporting Rwanda for a long time, and this is one of the main initiatives supporting the coffee sector to align with the EU deforestation regulations and to make sure that the coffee sector is really ready and enabled to have a clear roadmap to make sure that alignment can be fulfilled, and in that way to ensure that the coffee sector has a multi-stakeholder platform where consultation and experience sharing and alignment can be done to really strengthen that collaboration, including all the stakeholders, and making sure that the coffee from Rwanda can really access the EU market at very competitive prices. Looking at the recently, promoted EU deforestation regulation. Even though those regulations are not yet fully enforced, we have heard from some coffee companies that at the international market, some individuals have started to request that they comply with those EU deforestation regulations. So it's really good that UNDP, in partnership with GIZ and in strong collaboration with the government through NAIEB, have been able to really put in place this roadmap, which was a consultative process to make sure the gaps that are there are indicated and addressed through a clear roadmap and a multi-stakeholder platform for the coffee sector stakeholders. And this will really contribute to the development of the country in terms of economic development, because once those EU deforestation regulations are fully enforced, Rwanda will be one of the lead countries to be ready to tap into the EU market without any limitation.
Sandrine Urujeni, Chief Operations Officer at NAIEB, explained the structure of the program and how it will help position Rwanda's specialty coffee more competitively on the international market.
Today was a launch of European deforestation regulation roadmap for the Rwanda coffee sector, whereby all stakeholders have gathered together to really make sure that we put in place measures that will help businesses to strive and comply on the European markets. This regulation has been in place and it will be implemented or is in force after 2020 season, So we need to make sure that by the time of implementation, because medium and bigger companies will start to implement it by the end of this year, 2026. So we needed to make sure that companies from Rwanda are complying, they have all requirements in place, they've gathered data, they have everything in place to make sure that they are not affected.
That in 2025, coffee exports generated nearly 217 billion Rwandan francs for Rwanda from 28,860 tons exported. On that note, on behalf of the news production team and the technical team, thank you for being with us here on RTV News. My name is Martina Abera, and until next time, stay safe and have a good night.